Get your hands off me. Lady, you do not give orders in my precinct. Officer Ryan Cole yanked the elderly woman out of the plastic chair so hard her purse slammed against the tile floor. A bottle of heart medication rolled under the front desk. The police lobby went silent for half a second. Then phones started rising. Someone whispered, "Damn, Gloria Harris caught herself against the counter before she fell." Her gray coat looked too thin for the winter rain outside. One sleeve trembled where Ryan's grip had twisted the fabric. But her chin stayed up. "I asked for a report form," she said quietly. "Not a fight." Ryan laughed without humor. "You crossed a restricted hallway. You ignored instructions. Now you are causing a disturbance." Behind him, fluorescent lights reflected off polished badges and glass security doors. Officers moved in and out with coffee cups and radios crackling on their shoulders. Nobody stepped forward. Gloria looked painfully small in the middle of the bright lobby. 73 years old. African American. Tired eyes. Worn shoes damp from rainwater. The kind of woman people stopped seeing the second they decided she did not belong somewhere important. Ryan pointed toward the exit. "You people always think rules do not apply to you." A younger officer near the metal detector shifted uncomfortably. "Ryan, maybe just let her file the report, stay out of it." Ryan cut him off instantly. "This is police business." Gloria bent slowly to pick up her medicine bottle. Her hand shook once before she steadied it. A folded photograph slipped halfway from her purse. Ryan noticed only the old edges and scoffed. "What is that? Another fake ID?" A few people near the waiting benches laughed nervously. One woman lowered her eyes instead. Gloria slid the photograph back inside without answering. "Officer," she said calmly, "your body cam is still recording." Ryan's smirk flickered for a fraction of a second. Then it returned harder. "You think you know procedure? I know officers are not supposed to touch civilians like this during a nonviolent complaint." The lobby quieted again. A desk sergeant glanced up from behind thick computer monitors. Ryan stepped closer until his badge almost touched Gloria's coat. "You want to teach me the law now?" "No," Gloria replied softly. "I am asking you to remember it." Something about the way she said it made the younger officer look at her twice. Ryan saw that look and immediately grabbed Gloria's arm again. "That is enough." He pulled her toward the glass doors. Gloria winced but refused to cry out. Her purse dragged against the floor. Papers spilled behind her. Receipts. A bus pass. A small church pamphlet. An old emergency contact card. Around them, people kept filming. Nobody wanted to become the next target. A little boy sitting beside his mother whispered, "Why is he hurting Grandma?" The mother hushed him instantly. Ryan shoved the lobby door open with his shoulder. Rain and cold wind burst inside. "You are trespassing now," he barked. "Leave before I put cuffs on you." Gloria looked directly at him. "I came here because someone stole my wallet near the subway." Ryan rolled his eyes. "And now I am supposed to believe that story?" "You already decided not to." The sharpness of her answer landed harder than shouting would have. Ryan's jaw tightened. "You think because people pity you, you can walk wherever you want?" Gloria glanced once toward the hallway beyond the security desk. Toward a door marked "Authorized Personnel Only." Her expression changed for the briefest moment. Recognition. Memory. Something deeper than confusion. Then it vanished. Ryan caught the look. "Ah. So that is it." He turned toward the crowd like a performer. She was snooping around restricted offices. Murmurs spread instantly. Probably trying to steal something. Or record officers. People do anything for lawsuits now. Gloria closed her eyes for one exhausted second. What kind of city teaches people to trust a uniform before a human being? The younger officer stepped forward again. Sir, maybe we should at least review the hallway camera before, I said enough. Ryan slammed his palm against the desk. Radios crackled louder in the silence afterward. Gloria slowly reached into her purse again. Ryan immediately grabbed her wrist. Do not. Several people gasped. It is only my inhaler, Gloria said. Ryan released her with visible annoyance. Then move faster. She pulled out the inhaler and beside it came the corner of that old photograph again. This time the desk sergeant caught a glimpse. A younger black police officer in dress uniform stood beside Gloria in the picture, smiling proudly. The sergeant frowned slightly. Ryan did not notice. He was too busy forcing Gloria toward the rain outside. You are banned from this precinct, he snapped. Next time you come near this building, I will arrest you. Gloria stopped at the doorway. Wet wind lifted strands of silver from her hair. Her voice stayed calm. Officer Cole, she said quietly, reading his badge without looking twice, when that camera footage is reviewed, remember this moment. Ryan laughed. Nobody important is reviewing anything for you. Then a sharp electronic tone echoed from behind the front desk. One of the monitors flickered alive. The desk sergeant stared at the screen. Ryan, he said slowly. There is an incoming priority call from Chief Harris's private line. The entire lobby began to fall silent. The lobby doors slammed shut behind Gloria Harris with a cold metallic echo. For a moment she just stood in the rain, breathing slowly through the ache in her chest while people inside the precinct kept staring through the glass. Some still held up phones. One teenager laughed softly before his girlfriend lowered his arm. Gloria tightened her grip around her purse. The corner of the old photograph inside pressed against her fingers like something alive. Behind the glass, Officer Ryan Cole was still talking loudly, pointing toward the sidewalk as if removing her had fixed the whole world. The flashing patrol lights outside painted blue reflections across the wet pavement. Gloria pulled her coat tighter and walked toward the bus stop without looking back. 3 hours earlier, before the humiliation, her apartment had been quiet except for the sound of an old kettle rattling on the stove. The place was small. Faded wallpaper. A tiny kitchen table beside a rain-streaked window. Prescription bottles lined carefully beside unpaid utility bills. Gloria sat near the radiator wearing reading glasses low on her nose while she repaired the loose seam of her church gloves with slow careful stitches. On the shelf behind her sat an old folded flag in a wooden case. Beside it rested a framed photograph of a younger black police officer smiling beside her in dress blues. Gloria never looked at that picture for long. Her breathing had been heavier lately. The doctor wanted more tests. More medication. More money. But every Thursday she still rode the subway downtown to help at the church food pantry because, as she once told a volunteer, some people still need somebody to look them in the eye. Her phone vibrated on the table that morning. Marcus flashed briefly across the screen. Gloria stared at the name until it stopped ringing. She slid the phone face down without answering. A few minutes later she tucked the old photograph into her purse beside an emergency contact card and left the apartment. Now, sitting alone at the bus stop after the incident, she rubbed her wrist where Ryan had grabbed her. Red marks darkened slowly against her skin. A little girl standing nearby looked up at her. Are you okay? Gloria forced a small smile. I will be. The girl hesitated, then handed her a napkin from a fast food bag because rainwater had mixed with tears Gloria never realized escaped. That policeman was mean, the child whispered. Her mother quickly pulled her back. Do not get involved. Gloria lowered her eyes. Even kindness sounded afraid now. Across the street, a giant TV in a pawn shop window replayed local footage from downtown protests. Police uniforms. Flashing lights. Crowds yelling. Authority always looked bigger on a screen. She reached into her purse for her inhaler and accidentally brushed the photograph again. This time she paused. Slowly she pulled it out halfway. A younger Marcus stood in the picture beside his father at police academy graduation. Gloria's thumb rested over her late husband's face. Her wedding ring glinted faintly under the bus stop light. "I told your father this city would swallow good men whole," she whispered. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Gloria answered carefully. "Ms. Harris," a nervous female voice asked. "This is Denise Walker from the precinct dispatch desk." Gloria's eyes narrowed slightly. "Yes." Denise lowered her voice. I saw what happened. I do not think Officer Cole realized who," a sharp voice interrupted in the background. "Ryan. Who are you talking to?" Denise immediately changed tone. "Wrong number. Sorry." The call disconnected. Gloria stared at the dead screen. The rain grew heavier. Have you ever been looked at and judged before anyone knew a single thing about your life? A city bus roared past without stopping because it was already full. Gloria sighed and stood slowly. Her knees hurt in the cold. By the time she reached her apartment again, darkness had settled over the neighborhood. She unlocked the door carefully and froze. Her voicemail light blinked red. 3 new messages. The first was from the pharmacy. The second from church asking if she was still volunteering Sunday morning. The third made her face tighten instantly. "Ms. Harris." Ryan's voice. "Calm now. Controlled. You need to return to the precinct immediately. There is additional questioning regarding restricted access and interference with an active police area." Gloria closed her eyes briefly. Then she noticed something else. Her purse felt lighter. She opened it fast. The old family photograph was gone. At that exact moment, across town inside the precinct security room, Sergeant Linda Perez stared at a frozen frame from hallway camera footage. The image showed Gloria standing near the restricted corridor before Ryan grabbed her. And just behind Gloria, barely visible in the frame, was Chief Marcus Harris stepping out of an elevator. Sergeant Linda Perez froze with her hand still resting on the keyboard. The paused security frame glowed against the dark security room walls. Gloria Harris stood near the restricted hallway exactly seconds before Ryan dragged her away. And behind her, half hidden by the elevator doors, stood Chief Marcus Harris in full dress uniform. Linda leaned closer. "That is impossible," she whispered. Another officer beside her laughed nervously. "You think the chief's mother would show up looking like that?" Linda did not answer. Because the woman in the frame had the same eyes. The same posture. The same silver church gloves Marcus kept in a photo on his office shelf. Across town, Gloria sat quietly at her kitchen table while thunder rolled outside her apartment building. Her untouched tea had gone cold. The voicemail from Ryan still echoed in her mind. "Return to the precinct immediately. Additional questioning." She looked toward the empty hook beside the door where her late husband's old police jacket used to hang before she donated it years ago. "They always think the uniform matters more than the person," she murmured softly. On the television, local news replayed shaky phone footage from outside the precinct. The headline at the bottom read, "Elderly woman removed after security incident." No one mentioned her name. No one asked why she had been there. In the comments section scrolling below, strangers called her confused, dangerous, homeless, unstable. Gloria quietly switched the TV off. The silence hurt less. At the precinct, Ryan Cole walked through the bullpen grinning while younger officers slapped his shoulder. "You handled it fast," one deputy said. "People like that always make scenes." Ryan smirked. "Rules are rules." But when he reached his desk, he noticed Sergeant Perez standing there waiting with crossed arms. "Where is the woman's confiscated property?" she asked. Ryan shrugged casually. Bag is in holding. You logged every item. Why? Ryan leaned closer. You seriously think she matters? Linda's eyes narrowed. Everyone matters. Ryan laughed under his breath. Not downtown at rush hour. A nearby dispatcher lowered her eyes uncomfortably. The room suddenly felt colder. Gloria's apartment buzzer rang sharply. She opened the door carefully and found her church neighbor Mrs. Evelyn standing there holding a grocery bag. You forgot your medicine this morning, Evelyn said softly. Then she hesitated. I saw the video. Gloria looked away. Videos only show what people want. Evelyn stepped inside anyway. Marcus called twice. Gloria stiffened immediately. I did not answer. He sounded worried. Gloria slowly sat back down. Your son becomes police chief and suddenly everyone stops seeing your face. They only see his title. Evelyn noticed the old framed academy photograph missing from the table. Where is Harold's picture? Gloria's expression changed instantly. It is gone. Silence filled the apartment. Evelyn whispered, You think somebody took it? Gloria nodded once. And they knew exactly why it mattered. Back at the precinct, Linda reopened the hallway footage frame by frame. Marcus Harris appeared only for half a second before the image glitched strangely. Corrupted timestamp. Missing audio. Then another detail caught her attention. Gloria was not wandering near the restricted corridor randomly. She had been looking directly toward the chief's office hallway like someone expected to be there. Run facial match confirmation, Linda ordered quietly. The young tech hesitated. Against the chief's family records? Just do it. The system processed slowly. Loading circle. Camera flicker. Then suddenly the screen locked red. Access restricted. Authorization override. Ryan appeared in the doorway instantly. Too fast. Like he had been listening. Step away from that terminal, he said sharply. Linda looked up. Why are family records blocked? Ryan's jaw tightened. Because this department is not a gossip club. You deleted footage. Careful, Sergeant. The bullpen fell quieter around them. Phones stopped ringing for a moment. Ryan lowered his voice. That woman returns here tonight, she gets processed formally. Trespassing. Obstruction. Whatever sticks. Linda stared at him carefully now. You sound nervous. Ryan smiled, but the confidence did not fully reach his eyes. At that exact moment Gloria's phone buzzed again. This time it was not Ryan. The caller ID simply read, City Precinct Internal Line. Gloria answered cautiously. A trembling voice whispered from the other side. Ms. Harris, somebody inside knows who you are now. Then the line went dead. Seconds later another message arrived. Return to the precinct immediately. Chief request pending verification. Gloria stared at the screen silently while rain hammered harder against the windows. And inside evidence holding downstairs at the station, an officer opened Gloria's confiscated purse and slowly pulled out the old missing photograph Ryan never realized had been tucked inside all along. The evidence clerk held the old photograph carefully under the fluorescent light. This was inside her purse, he asked quietly. Sergeant Linda Perez nodded once. The image showed a younger Gloria Harris standing beside two officers in front of the old South District precinct nearly 40 years earlier. One of the men wore a captain's badge. The other was a teenage Marcus Harris in a junior police cadet uniform. Ryan Cole snatched the photo before anyone else could study it too long. Old pictures do not prove anything, he snapped. People fake family photos every day. But his voice came too fast. Too sharp. Linda noticed it immediately. So did the rookie officer standing beside the coffee machine. Ryan shoved the photograph into a case folder. This woman manipulated all of you because she knows how sympathy works. Then why did she know internal corridor codes? Linda asked quietly. The bullpen went silent for half a second. Ryan laughed loudly to kill the tension. She guessed. Linda stared at him. Nobody guesses restricted hallway procedures from memory. Ryan leaned forward across the desk. You are making a mistake, Sergeant. Maybe, Linda replied. Or maybe you already did. Downstairs, Gloria sat alone in interview room 2. The gray walls reflected cold light across her tired face. Her purse was gone. Her church gloves rested folded neatly in her lap. She looked calm, but her fingers trembled slightly each time footsteps passed outside the door. A young officer entered carrying a paper cup of water. He hesitated before setting it down. Ma'am. Why did you ask for the chief's hallway specifically? Gloria looked at him carefully. Because I know where my son works. The young officer blinked hard. Your son. Gloria lowered her eyes again. I did not say that for your report. The officer froze completely. Outside the half-open door, another deputy overheard the sentence and slowly turned back toward the hallway. Tiny silence spread like smoke. But before anyone could ask another question, Ryan stormed into the room. Out, he ordered the young officer immediately. Now. The door slammed shut. Ryan paced slowly in front of Gloria. You think saying things like that scares me? Gloria stayed seated. No, then stop pretending. Ryan pointed toward the mirrored glass. You embarrassed this department tonight. Gloria finally looked directly at him. No. Someone else did. The words landed harder than shouting. Ryan's jaw tightened instantly. You people always play victim when rules apply to you. Gloria's tired eyes did not move. Procedure matters. That is why your body cam should still be running. Ryan froze for one dangerous second. Outside the room, Linda heard the silence through the glass. She immediately turned toward the evidence terminal. Pull Officer Cole's body cam logs, she ordered. The technician typed quickly. Then frowned. That is strange. What? His camera cut off 7 minutes before the incident report says it did. Linda's expression changed instantly. Nearby officers slowly stopped pretending not to listen. Ryan stepped out of the interview room fast enough to notice their faces. Technical malfunction, he barked. It happens. During a civilian restraint? Linda asked. Convenient. Ryan moved closer until they stood inches apart. Careful, Sergeant. No, Linda answered softly. You should be. For the first time all night, uncertainty flickered behind Ryan's eyes. In the waiting area outside, 2 civilians replayed phone footage from earlier. One paused the clip suddenly. Wait, the woman whispered. Look at her hand. The video zoomed shakily toward Gloria as Ryan dragged her across the lobby floor. For half a second, the edge of an old silver police family ring became visible beneath her glove. The same ceremonial ring every chief's family received at retirement banquets decades ago. The civilian looked up slowly. My father had one exactly like that. Microseconds later Ryan snatched the phone from her hand. Delete the video. You cannot do that, the civilian protested quietly. I just did. Around them, whispers started spreading faster now. Not loud yet. But growing. Gloria sat motionless behind the interview room glass while the station buzzed with nervous energy. She looked toward the faded motto painted high across the bullpen wall. Service before power. Her eyes lingered there for a long moment. Then she spoke softly enough that only Linda heard through the partially open door. Your chain of custody log is wrong. Linda frowned immediately. What? Gloria pointed toward the evidence folder Ryan carried under his arm. That photograph was logged after my purse arrived. Linda's face changed instantly. How would you know that? Gloria answered without hesitation. Because evidence timestamps cannot legally overlap intake signatures. The rookie technician slowly looked up from the terminal screen. She is right. The bullpen fell quiet again. Ryan immediately cut in. Enough. Move her downstairs for formal booking. On what charge? Linda asked sharply. Ryan's voice rose louder this time. Disorderly conduct. Trespassing. Interference. Pick one. Two officers hesitated beside the holding hallway. Nobody moved first. Ryan pointed directly at Gloria. Cuff her. Gloria stood slowly before anyone touched her. Calm. Dignified. Silent. Then the main station monitor suddenly flickered overhead. The corrupted hallway footage restored itself for exactly one frame. And across the glowing screen, half covered by static, appeared Chief Marcus Harris stepping toward Gloria with his hand already reaching out to embrace her. The frozen frame vanished from the station monitor almost instantly. Static swallowed the image before anyone could fully process what they saw. Ryan Cole reacted faster than anyone else. Turn that screen off, he barked. The rookie technician hesitated only half a second before Ryan slammed his palm against the console himself. The bullpen lights reflected sharply across his flushed face. Corrupted footage, Ryan announced loudly. Nothing more. But the silence hanging over the room no longer sounded the same. Officers exchanged quick looks. A dispatcher slowly lowered her phone. Sergeant Linda Perez kept staring at the black monitor screen like the image was still burned into it. Gloria Harris remained standing near interview room 2, calm despite the tension tightening around her. The handcuffs hanging from the younger officer's belt never moved closer. Ryan noticed that hesitation immediately. Why are you standing there? He snapped. Book her. Nobody moved. Ryan's voice sharpened. Now. Gloria finally spoke, soft but steady. Your department manual requires visual confirmation before restraint escalation on elderly civilians. Ryan laughed harshly. You memorized policy from television? Gloria looked directly at him. Page 43. Revised after the Brookline lawsuit. The rookie officer blinked hard. He knew the case. Every academy trainee did. Tiny silence spread again. Ryan immediately cut through it. Enough pretending. He pointed toward Gloria's folded gloves. She came here looking for attention. That is all this is. Linda stepped closer slowly. Then why was the hallway footage restricted? Ryan turned sharply. Because command staff areas are protected. And why did your body cam stop early? Ryan's jaw tightened visibly now. Around the bullpen, whispers started again. Somebody near records quietly replayed the frozen frame from memory out loud. The chief looked like he knew her. Ryan slammed a file onto the desk hard enough to make everyone jump. Nobody says another word. The station doors opened suddenly as two internal affairs supervisors entered carrying tablets and sealed folders. Ryan's confidence returned instantly when he saw them. Perfect timing, he said loudly. This woman interfered with active police operations and attempted unauthorized access. One supervisor glanced toward Gloria briefly. That her? Ryan nodded. She also manipulated officers with false personal claims. Gloria said nothing. Her silence unsettled the room more than shouting could have. One of the supervisors noticed the old silver ring still visible beneath Gloria's glove. His eyes narrowed for half a second before Ryan stepped directly into his line of sight. We need immediate formal processing, Ryan continued. Before this turns into another online circus. Phones lowered around the bullpen. Several civilians near the front desk had already begun recording again. Ryan pointed toward them angrily. "Put those away." Nobody obeyed immediately this time. Microseconds later, a tiny crack of hope appeared. The rookie technician quietly reopened the evidence intake log on his terminal. A red timestamp warning blinked beside Gloria's confiscated property file. Duplicate access detected. Linda saw it instantly. "Ryan," she said carefully, "why does your ID appear inside evidence holding before the official intake time?" Ryan walked over fast and shut the terminal window down. "System lag." "That is not how evidence logs work," Linda answered. The rookie swallowed nervously. Actually, she was right earlier about overlapping signatures too. Ryan rounded on him immediately. "You want your probation reviewed?" The young officer fell silent at once. Hope disappeared as quickly as it came. Ryan grabbed Gloria's evidence folder and tucked it beneath his arm. "Interview terminated. Transfer her downstairs." Two security officers finally stepped forward. Not aggressive. Hesitant. Embarrassed. Gloria slowly offered her wrists without resistance, though pain flickered briefly across her tired face. The crowd near the front desk watched in heavy silence. Some looked guilty now. Others still believed Ryan simply because of the badge on his chest. A woman whispered quietly to her husband, "If she was important, somebody would have stopped this already." Gloria heard it. Her eyes lowered for only a second. Ryan leaned close enough that only Gloria and Linda could hear him. "Nobody is coming for you." Gloria looked at him calmly. "You keep saying that like you are trying to convince yourself." Ryan smiled coldly. "After tonight, nobody will believe a word you say." Then he ordered the security officers forward again. As Gloria was escorted toward the holding hallway, her church glove slipped slightly from her wrist. Linda noticed something hidden underneath for the first time. A faded ink mark. Old police family identification numbers written carefully along the inside of Gloria's wrist in nearly invisible blue ink. Not random numbers. Legacy emergency codes used decades ago only by senior command families during riot evacuations. Linda's face changed instantly. Before she could speak, Ryan saw it too. His expression darkened. "Move her now," he snapped. "Unlock evidence access immediately." The holding door buzzed open with a metallic echo. Gloria disappeared behind it as the entire bullpen watched. Seconds later the rookie technician's phone vibrated silently beneath the desk. An anonymous message appeared across the screen. "Do not let Cole destroy the original camera file. There is a second recording." The rookie technician stared at the anonymous message glowing beneath his desk. "Do not let Cole destroy the original camera file. There is a second recording." His throat tightened instantly. Across the bullpen, Ryan Cole was already escorting Gloria Harris toward holding while officers avoided eye contact. Nobody wanted to be the next target. The rookie quietly copied the message ID onto a sticky note before deleting the alert from the screen. Then he glanced toward Sergeant Linda Perez. She noticed immediately. Tiny hope flickered between them without a word. Down the holding corridor, Gloria paused beside the security checkpoint. One of the older desk officers looked at her wrist again where the faded emergency numbers still showed faintly beneath her glove. "Those codes," he whispered unconsciously. Gloria gently lowered her sleeve before he could finish. Ryan stepped between them instantly. "Focus on your assignment." The older officer backed away without another word. Ryan unlocked the holding door with visible irritation. "You should have left quietly hours ago." Gloria remained calm. Truth usually scares people who depend on silence. Ryan smirked coldly. Truth does not matter without proof. The holding room buzzed softly with fluorescent light. Gray concrete walls. Metal bench. Old security camera hanging above the door. Gloria sat carefully, folding her gloves again across her lap. Outside the glass partition, Linda approached the rookie technician near records. "What did you see?" she asked quietly. The rookie swallowed hard before sliding the sticky note into her palm. Linda read it once. Her eyes sharpened instantly. "Second recording." The rookie nodded slightly. The primary hallway feed was copied remotely before deletion. By who? "I do not know." Before Linda could press further, the evidence server suddenly emitted a sharp warning tone. Screen authorization conflict. Several officers looked up immediately. Ryan turned fast. Too fast. "Nobody touches that terminal," he snapped. But Linda was already moving toward it. The monitor displayed overlapping evidence logs connected to Gloria's confiscated property file. One attachment had not appeared earlier. Archived patrol record, sealed family access. The room fell quieter by the second. Linda clicked the folder before Ryan reached her. An old audio file appeared. Date stamp, 27 years earlier. The playback lasted only 4 seconds before Ryan slammed the keyboard shut. But the voice inside the recording froze everyone nearby. "If anything happens during emergency transfer, protect my wife and son first." The voice belonged to former Captain Daniel Harris, Chief Marcus Harris's late father. Gloria closed her eyes briefly from inside holding when she heard it echo faintly through the corridor speakers. A young civilian woman near the front desk whispered, "That family name again." Ryan immediately grabbed the terminal cable and disconnected the monitor completely. "Archived corruption," he barked loudly. "Old training files." Linda stared directly at him now. Why was Gloria Harris connected to sealed Harris family records? Ryan's expression hardened. "You are reaching." "No," Linda answered softly. "You are hiding." Several officers shifted uncomfortably. Nobody laughed anymore. Even the civilians recording near the entrance lowered their phones slightly. The evidence had changed the room. Not enough to expose everything, but enough to crack certainty. If that recording meant what it sounded like, Gloria was connected to the chief's family long before tonight. And Ryan knew it. What do you think Ryan is really afraid of losing now that the evidence is starting to surface? Ryan suddenly pointed toward Linda. "Step away from this investigation immediately. You cannot order that. Watch me." He turned toward 2 security officers. "Escort Sergeant Perez out of records access." The atmosphere tightened again instantly. Tiny hope crushed beneath authority. The rookie technician lowered his eyes in fear. Ryan grabbed the archived folder drive from the terminal dock and shoved it into his pocket. "This station is done entertaining conspiracy theories." Linda stepped closer anyway. "Then why are you carrying the evidence yourself?" Ryan ignored her completely. Instead, he looked through the holding glass directly at Gloria. For the first time all night, uncertainty flickered openly behind his confidence. Gloria noticed it too. She spoke softly enough that only he could hear through the partially open door. "Daniel always said weak officers panic first." Ryan's face changed instantly. Sharp. Pale. Dangerous silence spread across the corridor. "How did you know that name?" he whispered. Gloria said nothing more. Ryan quickly slammed the holding door shut harder than necessary. The security camera above the cell suddenly blinked twice. Then the monitor at the desk automatically reactivated itself without warning. A new file began loading across the screen. Secondary body cam recovery, partial audio restored. Everyone in the bullpen slowly turned toward the glowing monitor as the corrupted footage prepared to play. The recovered body cam file loaded 1 painful second at a time across the bullpen monitor. Officers gathered silently near the desk while static crackled through the speakers. Gloria Harris remained alone behind the holding glass, her tired reflection faint beneath the flickering security light. Ryan Cole stood rigid beside the disconnected evidence terminal, jaw tight enough to show strain near his temple. Then the audio finally broke through the static. "Mrs. Harris," a younger voice asked from the recording. The chief said to wait upstairs. The room froze instantly. Gloria lowered her eyes slowly inside the holding room. Ryan lunged toward the monitor, but Sergeant Linda Perez blocked him first. "Do not touch it. It is incomplete footage," Ryan snapped. "Context matters." But nobody looked convinced anymore. The bodycam image remained distorted, yet one thing was unmistakable. Gloria had not wandered into the restricted hallway by accident. Someone inside the department expected her there. The rookie technician swallowed nervously beside Linda. "This recording came from backup cloud storage," he whispered. "Meaning somebody tried to erase the original." Ryan rounded on him immediately. "You are done speaking." Gloria sat quietly through the chaos, fingers resting against the old silver ring beneath her glove. Her eyes drifted toward the cracked ceiling light overhead, distant and heavy with memory. For a moment, the bullpen noise faded behind an older sound in her mind. Rain against hospital windows. Her husband Daniel Harris coughing weakly from a hospital bed 27 years earlier. His police captain badge resting beside folded retirement papers. "Promise me something," Daniel had whispered back then. "Do not let Marcus lose himself inside that uniform." Gloria blinked hard and returned to the present. Pain moved across her face only briefly before disappearing again. Outside the holding room, Linda approached quietly. "Mrs. Harris," Gloria looked up carefully. Linda hesitated before speaking softer. "Why did you never tell anyone who you were?" Gloria's answer came after a long silence. "Because titles protect some people." Her eyes lowered toward the ring. "And destroy others." The words landed harder than anger. Linda noticed something else beside Gloria on the metal bench now. An old folded church bulletin partly hidden beneath her purse strap. Names handwritten carefully across the back in faded ink. Marcus Harris. Daniel Harris. Memorial service dates. Tiny emotional silence settled between them. Then Ryan interrupted from the corridor. "Enough private conversations." He stepped forward holding a disciplinary form. "She signs formal trespassing acknowledgement now." Gloria looked at the paper but did not touch it. "You already know I was invited there." Ryan's voice sharpened instantly. "You have no proof of that." From across the bullpen, the rookie technician suddenly spoke before fear stopped him. "Actually, the restored file timestamp matches the chief's private elevator schedule." Every head turned. Ryan stared at him with open fury now. "Do you want your career destroyed?" The rookie fell silent immediately, but the damage was done. Officers were thinking now. Watching. Doubting. Tiny hope flickered again. Then Ryan crushed it fast. He grabbed the remaining bodycam drive from the console and pocketed it. "This station is under evidence lockdown until internal review." "You cannot bury everything," Linda said quietly. Ryan leaned close enough for only her to hear. "Watch me." He then pointed toward Gloria through the holding glass. "Transfer her downstairs permanently. No outside contact." Two officers reluctantly moved toward the door. Gloria slowly stood before they could touch her. Dignified. Tired. Unbroken. As she picked up her purse, something slipped from the side pocket onto the concrete floor. A small faded photograph. The rookie officer bent down instinctively to retrieve it. Then stopped cold. The image showed young Marcus Harris in academy uniform beside Gloria outside graduation headquarters decades earlier. But the detail that froze him was written across the back in Daniel Harris's handwriting. "For the strongest woman in this department." The rookie looked up slowly toward Gloria. She quietly took the photograph back before anyone else saw clearly. Ryan noticed the exchange instantly. "What was that?" he demanded sharply. "Nothing," the rookie answered too quickly. Ryan's eyes narrowed with suspicion. The pressure inside the station thickened again. Gloria was escorted deeper toward the lower holding corridor while phones buzzed quietly across the bullpen. Somebody had already leaked fragments of the recovered footage online. Outside the station windows, reporters were beginning to gather beneath flashing cameras. Ryan watched the crowd forming and realized the story was no longer staying inside the building. Then Linda's office phone rang sharply behind him. She answered cautiously. Silence. Then her expression changed completely. "Chief Harris?" The entire bullpen went still. Linda listened for several seconds without speaking. Her eyes slowly shifted toward the holding corridor where Gloria had just disappeared. Then she whispered carefully into the receiver, "Sir. I think you need to come down here yourself." The station lobby had transformed into a public courtroom by sunrise. Reporters crowded behind the front glass doors. Phones pointed through every gap between officers. Red and blue reflections pulsed across the marble floor while anxious whispers spread faster than official statements. Gloria Harris sat alone on a metal bench near the lower holding corridor, her worn gray coat folded neatly across her lap. She looked exhausted, but her back remained straight. Above her, the security monitor looped silent hallway footage from the night before. Ryan Cole stood near the main desk like a man refusing to surrender territory. His uniform was pressed perfectly. His badge gleamed beneath the station lights. "Nobody leaves this building with incomplete footage," he announced loudly enough for everyone to hear. "The department will not be manipulated by internet rumors." Several officers nodded nervously. Others avoided eye contact. Ryan noticed the hesitation immediately. "She trespassed into a restricted area," he continued. "She resisted lawful removal. That is the truth." Gloria finally looked up. Truth does not need to be repeated that many times. The room fell quiet for one dangerous second. Ryan smirked coldly. Still trying to sound important. Gloria did not answer. Across the bullpen, Sergeant Linda Perez watched the exchange with growing discomfort. On her computer screen, the partially restored body cam archive continued loading corrupted files. Tiny red warning symbols blinked beside missing timestamps. One recovered frame stopped her breath briefly. Gloria standing calmly beside the private elevator. Someone unseen holding the elevator door open for her. Linda enlarged the blurry image carefully. Ryan noticed immediately and crossed the room fast. "Close that window." "The file is still processing," Linda replied. "Exactly," Ryan snapped. "Meaning it proves nothing." He reached past her and shut the monitor himself. Officers nearby exchanged silent looks. The rookie technician swallowed hard again. Nobody challenged Ryan openly yet. Outside the holding area, a middle-aged woman stepped toward Gloria with hesitant kindness. She was only there to file a theft report, but her eyes softened when she saw the elderly woman alone under fluorescent lights. "Ma'am, are you all right?" Before Gloria could answer, Ryan cut in sharply. "Do not engage with detainees." The woman stepped back immediately. Phones continued recording. Tiny hope appeared for one breath. Then Ryan crushed it again. "This is exactly how people manipulate sympathy," he said loudly. "Dress weak. Act harmless. Break rules anyway." A few people in the lobby nodded uncertainly. Gloria lowered her eyes briefly at the insult, fingers tightening around the old photograph hidden inside her purse. The rookie officer standing nearby finally spoke under his breath. "She never fought anyone." Ryan turned toward him instantly. "What did you say?" Silence. The rookie stared at the floor. Ryan stepped closer. "You want to throw away your badge over this?" Nobody spoke again. False victory settled visibly across Ryan's face now. He believed control was returning. He pointed toward Gloria. Transfer paperwork is already filed. She will be moved downtown pending review. Linda stiffened. Without the chief present? The chief is not here, Ryan answered sharply. And until he arrives, I am acting supervisor. Gloria finally stood slowly from the bench. Tired. Quiet. Dignified. Young man, she said softly, authority is easiest to misuse when nobody around you has courage. Ryan laughed once under his breath. Save the speeches. Then his expression hardened again. You do not belong here. Several people looked away after hearing that. The words sounded uglier spoken aloud. On the monitor behind the desk, the corrupted footage suddenly flashed alive for half a second before freezing again. A single frame appeared clearly this time. Gloria beside the elevator. A senior officer in formal dress uniform turning toward her with visible recognition. Linda saw it. So did the rookie technician. Ryan moved instantly to unplug the monitor entirely. Technical malfunction, he barked. Ignore it. Why are you afraid of one frame? Gloria asked quietly. The question landed harder than shouting. Even the reporters outside leaned closer to the glass now. Ryan stepped toward Gloria until only inches separated them. Because people like you survive on confusion. Gloria met his stare calmly. No. People like you do. The silence afterward felt heavy enough to stop movement itself. Then Ryan pulled a transfer form from his folder and shoved it toward the desk officer. Move her downstairs now. No visitors. No phones. No more recordings. The desk officer hesitated. Sir. Chief Harris's office just requested all archived footage. Ryan's jaw tightened instantly. Delete the corrupted copies first. Linda's eyes snapped toward him. So did the rookies. Ryan realized too late what he had just said aloud. The bullpen went still again. Somewhere near the entrance, a reporter lifted his phone higher. Then every computer screen in the station blinked simultaneously with the same system alert. Archived access request authorized, Office of the Chief. Beneath the warning, one partially restored file name finally became visible on Linda's monitor. Visitor Escort Authorization, G. Harris. The bullpen exploded with noise the second the system alert appeared. Officers crowded around the monitors. Reporters pressed harder against the station doors. Every blinking screen repeated the same line in cold blue letters, Visitor Escort Authorization, G. Harris. Ryan Cole reacted first. He stepped directly in front of the monitors like his body alone could erase the truth. Shut every terminal down, he barked. Now. Nobody moved. Sergeant Linda Perez stared at him carefully. Why would a restricted escort authorization exist for her? Ryan's jaw flexed hard. Clerical error. Gloria Harris sat silently beneath the harsh fluorescent lights, one hand resting over the worn photograph inside her purse. Her fingers trembled slightly now. Not from fear. From exhaustion. The rookie technician swallowed hard as another corrupted bodycam frame restored itself. Gloria standing beside the secured elevator again. This time the image sharpened enough to reveal a hand touching her shoulder respectfully. A captain's sleeve patch visible for only half a second. Ryan lunged toward the keyboard and yanked the power cable loose. The monitor went black instantly. Gasps spread through the room. There, Ryan snapped. Problem solved. Linda stepped forward slowly. You just interrupted evidence recovery. I interrupted gossip. Ryan turned toward the lobby crowd deliberately louder now. This woman manipulated access credentials. She lied about her identity. She trespassed into a secured police facility. He pointed directly at Gloria. And she is done wasting department resources. Several civilians nodded uncertainly again. Authority still carried weight here. Gloria rose carefully from the bench. Her old coat slipped slightly from her shoulders. For the first time, the room could see faint bruising on her wrist where officers had grabbed her earlier. The rookie officer looked away in shame. Ryan noticed and grew bolder. "Take her downstairs," he ordered. "No more conversations. No more sympathy." Two officers hesitated near Gloria. She did not resist. She simply picked up her purse and held the old photograph close against her chest. "You still believe silence protects you," she said quietly to Ryan. "No," Ryan replied coldly. "I believe rules protect everyone else from people like you." The insult landed heavily this time. Even some reporters outside lowered their phones for a second. Linda stepped closer. "Sir, policy requires full review before transfer if evidence corruption is involved." Ryan cut her off instantly. "Policy also requires officers to maintain order. Or have you forgotten your job too?" Tiny hope appeared again when the rookie technician suddenly spoke up. The authorization request came directly from the chief's office. The room froze briefly. Ryan turned slowly toward him. "Dangerous. Controlled. Repeat that." The request header matches the chief's encrypted signature. Ryan walked toward the young technician until silence swallowed the bullpen completely. "You are a trainee," Ryan said quietly. "You do not interpret command-level systems." The rookie's hands shook. "I just read what appeared on the screen." Ryan grabbed the printed recovery log from beside the computer and tore it cleanly in half. "Then read less." A few people in the lobby gasped softly at the sight. Linda stared at the destroyed paper in disbelief. Gloria closed her eyes briefly, like she had seen this kind of abuse before. "You are making this worse," she said softly. Ryan laughed bitterly. "Worse for who?" Then he pointed toward the holding corridor. "Move her now." One officer reached gently toward Gloria's arm. She nodded once and started walking without resistance. Phones followed her every step. Some recorded out of curiosity. Others out of guilt now. Halfway to the corridor doors, Gloria stopped suddenly. Her eyes lifted toward the disabled monitor. "You missed one frame," she said quietly. Ryan's confidence flickered for the first time. "What are you talking about?" Gloria did not answer. Instead, she looked toward Linda. "Ask yourself why he is more afraid of a hallway camera than of lying in public." Silence crashed across the station again. Ryan stepped forward fast. "Enough." He snatched Gloria's purse from her hands. The old photograph slid halfway out onto the floor. Before anyone could fully see it, Ryan bent down and grabbed it first. But not before Linda caught a glimpse. A much younger Gloria standing beside a teenage boy in police academy dress blues. Ryan noticed Linda's expression instantly and shoved the photo back into the purse. "Personal garbage," he muttered. "Nothing relevant." Gloria's voice stayed calm, but her eyes glistened now. That photograph survived longer than some promises. Ryan motioned aggressively toward the corridor doors. "Take her out of here." The officers finally moved again. The bullpen watched silently as Gloria disappeared toward the holding hallway like the entire station had already judged her guilty. Ryan exhaled slowly, believing he had regained control one final time. Then every monitor in the building suddenly powered back on by itself. A restored bodycam file opened automatically across every screen. The frozen frame sharpened completely at last. Gloria standing beside the secured elevator. A senior officer saluting her respectfully. And just before the footage advanced, a deep voice thundered from the station entrance. "Stop right there." The voice echoed through the station like a command nobody dared ignore. "Stop right there." Every officer near the holding corridor froze instantly. Ryan Cole turned toward the entrance so fast his shoulder nearly struck the desk behind him. The station doors opened slowly beneath flashing police lights outside. Chief Daniel Harris stepped inside wearing a dark overcoat over full-dress uniform. Rain glistened across his shoulders. His expression carried no anger yet. That made the silence worse. Reporters outside pressed closer against the glass. Phones lifted higher. Inside the bullpen, nobody spoke. Gloria Harris remained standing between two officers near the corridor entrance. Her tired eyes met Daniel's for only half a second before lowering again. She did not call his name. She did not move toward him. Ryan recovered first. "Chief," he said quickly, forcing confidence back into his voice. "We were just handling a trespassing incident involving falsified credentials." Daniel did not answer him immediately. Instead, he looked toward the disabled monitor. Then toward the torn recovery log still lying beside the keyboard. Then finally toward Gloria's trembling hands clutching the old photograph. "Who ordered the archive interruption?" he asked calmly. Nobody answered at first. Ryan stepped forward again. "Sir, the footage was corrupted." "That was not my question." The room grew even quieter. Linda Perez slowly reached toward the power cable Ryan had ripped loose earlier and reconnected it to the monitor. The screen flickered back to life. Restored bodycam footage resumed automatically. Gloria standing near the secured elevator again. An officer opening the elevator respectfully for her. Another officer nodding toward her with visible recognition. Ryan spoke over the footage immediately. Anyone could manipulate camera angles. His voice cracked slightly on the last word. Several officers noticed. Daniel finally looked directly at him. "Then why did you destroy evidence?" Nobody breathed. Ryan tried again. "I was protecting department integrity." Gloria spoke softly without looking up. "Integrity does not survive fear." The sentence landed across the bullpen like a weight. Phones slowly lowered now. Even civilians near the lobby doors stopped whispering. One elderly man removed his hat quietly. Linda opened another recovered file. A station access record filled the screen. Authorized escort clearance, approved by Office of the Chief. Beneath it, a blurred name remained partially hidden behind corrupted data. Ryan stepped toward the monitor fast. "Those records are incomplete." "Sit down, Officer Cole," Daniel said calmly. Ryan froze instantly. It was the first time all night someone had spoken to him like a subordinate again. The power shift rippled visibly through the room. The rookie technician swallowed hard and handed Linda another recovered printout. "There is more," he whispered. Linda unfolded the paper carefully. Security timestamps. Elevator logs. Visitor escort signatures. One line circled automatically by the system itself. Priority family access. Ryan saw it and immediately moved again. "That proves nothing." "Why are you sweating?" one reporter whispered near the lobby doors. The crowd heard it. Tiny murmurs spread again. Gloria remained silent. Dignified. Exhausted. One officer near the corridor finally stepped away from her side entirely. Then another. Nobody wanted to touch her now. Daniel walked slowly toward Gloria at last. The room practically stopped breathing watching him. He noticed the bruising around her wrist. His jaw tightened slightly for the first time. Who restrained her? No one answered immediately. Ryan forced himself forward again. "Sir, procedures required, procedures." Daniel interrupted quietly. The word cut sharper than shouting. Gloria gently placed the old photograph onto the front desk between them. Daniel looked down at it. A younger version of himself smiling beside Gloria outside Police Academy graduation years earlier. The same photograph Ryan had tried hiding minutes ago. Several officers stared openly now. One civilian covered her mouth. If you were standing in that station at that moment, who do you think finally realized the truth first? The officers? The reporters? Or Ryan himself? Daniel lifted the photograph slowly. Where did you get this? Ryan asked desperately. Gloria answered without anger. I kept it. The station monitors suddenly flashed again. Another recovered body cam angle loaded automatically. This one clearer. Ryan grabbing Gloria violently near the elevator while another officer hesitated in visible discomfort. Audio crackled softly beneath the footage. She does not belong up here, Ryan's recorded voice echoed through the station. Complete silence followed. Ryan pointed toward the screen immediately. Context matters. Then let us watch all of it, Linda said quietly. For the first time all night, several officers nodded openly beside her. Ryan looked around the room and realized control was slipping away fast now. He turned toward Daniel again. Sir, you do not understand what this woman, enough, Daniel said. The single word shut down the entire bullpen. Gloria lowered her eyes again, still not speaking the truth herself. She did not need to anymore. Daniel looked toward the monitor, then toward the access records, then finally toward Gloria's bruised wrist. The room had already started understanding. But nobody had heard it spoken aloud yet. Daniel slowly picked up the recovered file from the desk. His eyes stopped at the final authorization line hidden beneath the damaged system data. His face changed instantly. Then he looked directly at Ryan and said quietly, before anyone says another word, play the rest of the footage. The restored footage began playing across every monitor in the station. Nobody moved. Nobody even breathed loudly anymore. The camera angle shook slightly as Officer Ryan Cole approached Gloria Harris near the secured elevator hours earlier. She stood calmly with her old purse in one hand and a folded visitor pass in the other. You cannot stand here, Ryan's recorded voice barked through the speakers. Gloria answered softly in the footage. Your front desk told me to wait. People like you always have a story, Ryan snapped back. Gasps spread quietly through the bullpen hearing the full audio for the first time. Ryan immediately pointed toward the screens. That recording is incomplete. Then let it finish, Chief Daniel Harris said coldly. The footage continued. Another officer entered frame beside Gloria. Older. Nervous. He leaned close toward Ryan and whispered something barely audible. Linda Perez increased the volume carefully. That is the chief's mother. The station froze. Ryan's face lost color instantly. Phones lowered one by one across the lobby. Even the reporters outside stopped speaking. On the screen, Ryan laughed dismissively after hearing the warning. I do not care who she claims to be. Then came the second blow. The body cam showed Gloria calmly reaching into her purse for identification before Ryan grabbed her wrist violently and shoved her backward toward the wall. Several officers in the bullpen looked down immediately in shame. One civilian whispered, "Oh my God." Ryan spoke over the footage desperately now. She resisted. Play the next angle, Daniel ordered quietly. Linda opened the second recovered camera feed. This one came from the hallway security system Ryan had tried shutting down earlier. Crystal clear. Gloria never raised her voice. Never resisted. Never threatened anyone. The timestamp showed Ryan pulling her visitor authorization directly from her hand before crumpling it himself. Then the camera zoomed automatically onto the authorization line. Escort approved, mother of Chief Daniel Harris. Silence swallowed the station whole. Ryan stepped backward slowly. I did not see that part. You tore it up, Linda answered sharply. The rookie technician placed another recovered document onto the desk beside Daniel. Visitor logs. Elevator approvals. Internal escort authorization signed personally by the chief's office. One line highlighted in red. Family clearance priority level 1. Daniel finally looked directly at Gloria again. His voice softened for the first time all night. "Mom," the word hit the room harder than shouting ever could. Several officers closed their eyes instantly. One guard near the entrance removed his cap completely. Gloria looked at her son quietly. "I told you not to come down here angry." Ryan stared between them in disbelief. "No," his voice cracked badly now. "No, this is some kind of setup." Daniel turned toward him slowly. "You were warned on camera." "I did not know she was really." "You did know," Linda interrupted. She held up the torn authorization paper Ryan destroyed earlier. "The footage already proved that." Ryan's breathing turned shallow. Sweat glistened under the station lights now. "I was maintaining order." Gloria finally spoke directly to him again. Calm. Exhausted. Dignified. Order without humanity becomes cruelty very fast. Nobody argued with her anymore. Another recovered frame appeared automatically across the monitors. Ryan dragging Gloria toward the holding corridor while civilians recorded on their phones. In the footage, one young officer hesitated and asked quietly, "Should we call the chief first?" Ryan answered instantly. "Nobody calls him." The room reacted audibly this time. Several officers exchanged stunned looks. A reporter outside whispered, "He tried to bury it." Daniel's expression hardened completely. "You blocked communication with my office?" Ryan tried one final time to protect himself. "Sir, I was protecting department reputation." Daniel stepped closer. "By humiliating my mother in public?" Ryan opened his mouth again but no words came out now. Gloria gently reached into her purse and removed the old photograph at last. She placed it beside the torn visitor authorization and the recovered logs. Past and present sitting together beneath cold station lights. "He is not the first officer who forgot what the badge means," she said softly. "But he can still choose whether he learns from this." Even now, she refused to destroy him. That shook several people more than the reveal itself. Daniel looked toward the officers surrounding the bullpen. "Every report involving this incident is now under immediate review." Ryan's knees nearly buckled hearing the words. The power reversal was complete now. Phones no longer pointed at Gloria. They pointed at him. Then the final system confirmation appeared across every monitor in the station. Verified family access, Gloria Harris. Authorized by Office of the Chief. Ryan stared at the screen like it might still change somehow. It did not. Behind him, the station doors opened again. Internal affairs officers stepped inside carrying investigation folders. And Daniel Harris asked the question Ryan could no longer escape. "Officer Cole, why did you continue after you already knew who she was?" Nobody answered Chief Daniel Harris immediately. The silence inside the station became heavier than shouting ever had. Officer Ryan Cole looked around desperately now, searching for someone willing to stand beside him. Nobody did. The bodycam footage still glowed across the monitors behind him. Gloria Harris being dragged backward. Her visitor authorization crumpled in Ryan's fist. The warning from another officer ignored on camera. Every excuse had already collapsed. Daniel stepped forward slowly. "Hand over your badge." Ryan froze. "Chief, please, now." Ryan's trembling hand moved toward his chest. The metal badge clicked softly as he removed it from his uniform. That tiny sound echoed through the bullpen harder than a scream. Several officers looked away completely. One rookie swallowed hard and whispered, "He is done." Ryan tried one last defense. "I was protecting procedure." Linda Perez answered coldly from the security desk. "Procedure does not include humiliating a 72-year-old woman in public." A few civilians near the entrance lowered their phones in shame. Earlier, they recorded Gloria like she was the problem. Now they could barely look at her. Internal affairs officers approached Ryan quietly. One opened a folder already stamped with suspension paperwork. Another collected his duty radio. Then came the final humiliation Ryan never expected. Officer Ryan Cole, the lead investigator, announced clearly, "You are suspended pending abuse of authority and evidence tampering investigations." The station fell silent again. Ryan stared toward Daniel desperately. "Sir, please. I have a family." Gloria finally looked at him fully. "Not angry. Just tired. So does every person you stop." That line hit harder than punishment. Nobody defended Ryan after that. Daniel turned toward the gathered officers. "From this moment forward, every civilian escort request involving elderly visitors must include direct verification before physical removal. Every body cam interruption will trigger automatic review." Heads nodded silently across the room. A system was changing in real time because one woman refused to surrender her dignity. Linda reopened the damaged footage archive on the central monitor. "The deleted files are being restored permanently," she announced. "Nothing from tonight will disappear again." Ryan lowered his head. The same officers who laughed beside him earlier now stepped backward, distancing themselves quietly. One guard even removed the temporary restraint report from the processing desk and tore it in half. Gloria noticed the old photograph still sitting beside the ruined visitor authorization. Daniel gently picked both up and handed them back to her with both hands. Respectfully this time. "I should have protected you better," he said quietly. Gloria shook her head once. "Protect the next person better." Another silence spread through the station. Softer this time. "Human." Near the back wall, the young rookie officer who tried warning Ryan earlier finally stepped forward nervously. "Ma'am. I am sorry nobody listened." Gloria gave him a small nod. "You tried. That mattered." More officers slowly removed their caps. Even the civilians near the front desk stopped recording entirely. The energy of the room had changed completely now. No cheering. No revenge. Just shame, truth, and recognition. Daniel faced the reporters gathering outside the glass entrance. "An official statement will be released tonight," he said firmly. "This department failed Mrs. Gloria Harris. That failure will be corrected publicly." Ryan looked like he wanted to disappear. His authority, his confidence, even his voice had vanished beneath the station lights. Internal affairs escorted him quietly toward the administrative hallway. Not violently. Not cruelly. Just publicly. The same way Gloria had been dragged hours earlier. As he passed Gloria, he stopped for half a second. "I did not know," Gloria interrupted him gently. "You knew enough to stop." He could not answer that. The station computers updated moments later. Incident status, wrongful detention confirmed. Visitor record restored. Family authorization verified. Gloria Harris's name finally appeared correctly across the system monitor without warnings or restrictions beside it. One clerk near the desk quietly wiped tears from her eyes. Another officer reopened the locked elevator access personally. For the first time that night, nobody stood in Gloria's way. Daniel turned toward his mother carefully now. "Come upstairs with me." Gloria looked at the elevator doors for a long moment. The same doors where she had been humiliated in front of strangers. Then her eyes drifted downward toward the old photograph in her hand. Her late husband smiling proudly in his police uniform decades earlier. The badge had changed. The building had changed. But the wound underneath had not fully healed yet. As the elevator doors slowly opened again, a nervous elderly man entered the station carrying a worn paper visitor pass in shaking hands. He paused immediately after seeing the crowd staring. Fear crossed his face instantly. Gloria noticed it before anyone else did. And quietly, she stepped toward him first. The elderly man near the station entrance tightened his grip on the visitor pass so hard the paper bent in half. His hands shook the same way Gloria Harris's hands shook hours earlier. The lobby lights reflected off the polished floor. Officers moved carefully now. Nobody barked orders anymore. Nobody laughed. Gloria stepped toward him slowly before fear could send him back outside. "You are here to see someone?" she asked softly. The man nodded once. "My grandson," he whispered. "They said I needed approval." For one painful second, his eyes flicked toward the officers like he expected humiliation before kindness. Gloria understood that look immediately. She gently straightened the crushed visitor pass in his hands. "You do not have to be afraid to walk through a door." Several officers nearby lowered their heads quietly after hearing that. Chief Daniel Harris watched his mother carefully. Pride mixed with guilt in his face. The same station that dragged her across the floor now stood completely silent while she comforted someone else. Linda Perez reopened the visitor desk personally and typed the elderly man's information into the system. No suspicion. No mocking tone. Just respect. "Authorization approved," she said warmly. The old man blinked twice like he did not believe her. One young rookie officer stepped around the desk and offered to escort him upstairs properly. Earlier that same rookie stood frozen while Gloria was humiliated. Now he moved differently. "This way, sir," he said gently. Gloria noticed the change immediately. Small. Quiet. Real. Daniel approached his mother holding a small velvet box. Inside sat her late husband's restored police commendation pin beside the old photograph recovered from the floor. The metal had been cleaned carefully overnight. "It belongs with you," Daniel said. Gloria stared at the pin for a long moment before touching it softly. Her husband wore that pin the day he taught Daniel his first lesson about policing. Protect people first. Paperwork second. Somewhere along the years, the department forgot. Gloria never did. "Thank you," she whispered. Outside the station, reporters still waited beneath flashing cameras. But the noise felt different now. No frenzy. No mockery. Just attention. Daniel stepped beside his mother at the entrance. "The department will begin mandatory dignity response training starting next month," he announced publicly. "Every officer will learn that authority without humanity becomes abuse." Behind him, several officers removed old procedural notices from the bulletin wall. New policies were already replacing them. Linda pinned a printed statement beside the front desk: "All elderly visitors require assistance, not assumption." A small sentence. A permanent change. Ryan Cole appeared briefly through the distant hallway window being escorted toward administrative review. No handcuffs. No spectacle. Just consequence. He looked smaller now somehow. Not because he lost power. Because the truth finally stood taller than him. Gloria did not watch him long. She had no interest in revenge anymore. Near the front desk, one of the civilians who recorded her humiliation earlier stepped forward nervously holding a phone. "Mrs. Harris," the young woman said quietly, tears in her eyes. "I posted the video before I knew the truth." Gloria looked at her calmly. "Then post the truth too." The woman nodded immediately. "I will." Nearby, another officer carefully returned Gloria's visitor authorization card inside a clean plastic holder instead of the crumpled torn sleeve from earlier. Such a small thing. Yet everyone noticed it. Respect had returned to the object because dignity had returned to the woman carrying it. As the station slowly settled, Daniel glanced toward the old photograph again. "Dad would have been proud of you today." Gloria smiled sadly. "Your father would have asked why it took this long." Daniel lowered his eyes because he knew she was right. Before leaving, Gloria walked back toward the waiting area one final time. A young black boy sat there beside his exhausted mother, staring nervously at the officers moving through the lobby. Gloria crouched slowly despite the ache in her knees and handed him the polished commendation pin for just a second. The child's eyes widened. "Was your husband a hero?" he asked. Gloria smiled softly. "No," she answered. "He was a man who tried to treat people right." Then she placed the pin back inside her purse beside the old photograph and stood again with quiet dignity. The station doors opened automatically as morning sunlight spilled across the lobby floor. Nobody moved to stop her this time. Officers stepped aside respectfully. Civilians lowered their phones. The rookie officer nodded as she passed. Daniel walked beside his mother without speaking. And Gloria Harris finally walked out of the police station the same way she should have entered it from the beginning, head high, hands steady, and dignity fully restored while kindness continued moving quietly from one wounded person to the next.